Alrighty. Yay, I think I can do this one. And I hope y'all can hear me alright. I'm going to show you the smashy business. Meant to do this earlier, but unfortunately, I was trying to avoid getting the trailer in the shop, and I just didn't want it. But let's get started. These were good. These are all mine, and honestly, I'm kind of happy to not see too many alcohol containers in this one. Proud of them. But let's get started. Oh, come on now. Oh, I'm very dumb. I meant to do that. Smells like a Six Flags. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's all of it. We're probably going to package them back in that before we go for a walk, just because that's a good bag. And this has been out here all day. So, needed a glove for this bit of love. That's a joke for the adults in the audience. We donated blood in this arm yesterday, so trying to give that arm a break. Like I said, I like the noise it makes when they don't crush all the way the first time. That little sound of the air escaping and getting compressed. Very amusing to me. I don't know if this will be amusing to everybody, but one of my friends was like, hey, why don't you ever record this part? So, Britt, this one's for you. If you're gonna watch this one. So, if Britt watches this one, get him to comment. That one's already flat. That's a little piece, that's a little piece, that's a little piece. Didn't want to kill a snail if I didn't have to. Every creature is important. Ooh, Star Wars can. Smash the Darth Maul. That one was for Qui-Gon. I missed. All that work and you miss. Now this one's for Qui-Gon. Woo! That one popped. The one Dr. Pepper that I got off the road today. See what I mean? That sound. There's something. I like it. I like the noise. And as a reference to the book, Incredible Things, an interesting, on my Facebook I'll post who wrote it and all that, but it's a book about two young ladies, both of which, whose mother wanted them to become soccer prodigies, but after cricket, the younger one was born, the older one gave up soccer in order to help her sister out. The book progresses, and later, when she's in college, she realizes that her mother was the victim of her father. Even though her mother said it was her great romance, her mother was a high school soccer kid, and her father was a high school soccer coach. And if you think, ew, gross, that is the right thing to think about that. You should not fucking date your students, y'all. And that even goes for like adult teachers teaching at college. If you have any power over the person, you should not date them. Because someone who you have power over cannot give true consent. The story goes on, and Cricket ends up playing both in the World Cup at one point, when her teammate and later lover, there's some heated rivalry moments for the boys who like lesbian couples, ends up snapping her leg like a celery stick in the first round. So Cricket gets put in. Then, later on, when they're ready to play at the World Cup and officially Cricket goes out to play for the U.S. team, her sister ends up having a pass-out session in the stand. At this point in the story, spoiler alert, her sister, after giving birth to her child, not the sister, not Cricket's child, the sister's child, but after giving birth to her, she had major kidney failure and was on dialysis, and the two sisters had a fight because Mia's husband thought that Cricket should be willing to give her a kidney, and Cricket knew that if she gave her a kidney, she would have to give up her dreams of playing professional soccer because, and I do believe this is true in the real world, not just the novel, you can't play major sports without all your organs. Mostly because, even though we do have a kind of gladiatorial affair when it comes to sports, nobody actually wants to see the athletes die on the field. And if you got one kidney and a soccer ball going 70, 80 miles an hour hits that one kidney, you're going to die on the field, friend. Nobody wants to see that. Well, nobody is not a sociopath wants to see that. But it's a lovely story, and it goes on, and it does have, spoiler alert, a happy ending to it. But honestly, I don't typically get into sports books, or sports stories for that matter, because to me it's just, you know, you should be having fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, you're not doing it right. But that one, great things to come, a very good book. I'd definitely say check it out. Another really good book, and this one's a memoir, is Crying in an H Mart. Again, I really need to start remembering authors if I'm going to do this kind of book talking thing. But Crying in an H Mart, woo, covers the story of a punk, cyber, Asian Korean twist singer in her life. And I'll say that one got me legitimately to cry a few times, just because I'll admit it, y'all, I've lost a few family. I got to watch most of them pass into the clearing, which is not a great thing. And one of those people that I did not get to see pass, but I was the last person they spoke to, was my mother. And when she started speaking to her mother, and the last thing my mother said to me was, "Son, help." And I bathed her and I got her into her bed and I told her it'll be all right, and if she hadn't improved in the morning, I would take her to the hospital myself. She didn't make it through the night. Found out later she had basically poisoned herself. I should say that my piece of shit uncle found a note and kept it from me for 6 years. But when he got kicked out of the house, and later on when I was moving out, I found a box of my mother's things that he had gone through, and I found the note in there, which is how I know she poisoned herself with rubbing alcohol and basically shut her own kidneys down. And the note was her basically saying she was trying to run away from basically being Dad's only home health care provider. At the time, I was doing what I could, but I was like the only one in the house who had a 9-to-5 job. At that time, at a Taco Bell, it's not the greatest 9-to-5. Mountain Dew. Well, in Crying in an H Mart, her mother gets cancer. Her mother's full Korean. Her father's an American GI. And of the two of them, her mother's last words were, "It hurts." and that kind of broke her. Mother passes into the results of septic shock after that. And even though in that part of the book did make me cry, she starts saying mama in Korean. Miha, I believe. Miho? No, miho is my love in Spanish. Either way. She didn't want her mother's last words to be I'm in pain, or to be pain. And that just, with her saying mom over, it was like that scene in Bambi. For some reason, the idea of a deer dying doesn't like hit close to my heart and hurt me. But the idea of shooting a deer and then the other one's going, oh, mom, that fucks with my head a little, you know? But either way, Crying in an H Mark. Really cool book, if you got the chance to read. And let's face it, if you're an American, if you can read. Otherwise, check out the Libby app. Because here, the Libby app connects directly to our Bartow County Library, and you too can read it 100% for free. Well, you got to be able to prove you're a resident, get a library card, all that. Latest comic I read was Clara and the Devil, and I believe it was written by a French lady, but it was a pretty good one. The devil wasn't really the antagonist of the story. He was a love interest of one of the girl's friends, and eventually the girl, though not really the girl. Basically, the devil got her to break up with her boyfriend and get with effectively his boyfriend. And it was because his boyfriend had always had a crush on her, but never wanted to admit his feelings. And she wanted more out of a relationship than just love and cuddles. But her jock boyfriend really was just looking for the emotional support. So, as the devil says when she finally breaks down and says, fine, I'll sign over my soul, whatever I gotta do, just go away, sweat baby, just do it. And he goes, well, Clara, honey, I'm not here for your soul or anything like that. It's not a matter of what you can do for me. It's a matter of what I can do for you. And it's a really nice book. And the next one, apparently, the devil's assistant comes through on it. And I don't know what happens in that one yet. Because someone else, bastards, had borrowed it. And now I have to be patient and wait for the next book. Well, comic book. Which isn't bad. I don't mind waiting. The other great thing about relying on the library for most of my reading material is I learned patience, which is an invaluable habit to have. Invaluable? Yeah, I think that's the right word. Either way, good books all. The most recent I have read, and again, need to start remembering these damned authors, or at least writing them down, was All Hell Breaks Loose, which was, owie, the Pentagon's response to climate change. An in-depth detail. Don't let the politicians lie to you, friends. They know what's coming. The Army's already making plans for it. And if all hell breaking loose is accurate, apparently most of the military bases here in the States should be operating at 100% efficiency. Meaning, water comes from wells dug on base, power comes from solar panels and other means located on base, and basically every single U.S. military base could operate completely independently if, say, I don't know what the nearest one to us here is, but say Georgia Power went down for whatever reason, attack, bad, whatever, Georgia Power goes down, the nearest military base would still be up and running for all military personnel and their families. Also, apparently as of 2014-15, it was a military imperative that they're not really, and that's I think why Iran went so badly for us, they weren't really prepared for fighting wars. They were prepared for dealing with the fallout of climate change, which will likely involve fighting, but not aggressively attacking another country, more of just protecting what resources we have, as everyone has to move closer into those bases. And we'll probably, at that point, this one's my drawing from the story, not actually written in the report, but apparently, if I had to guess, it'll become much like Starship Troopers, where service means citizenship and help. And if you're like me, a little too crazy to be in the military, you'll just be fucked. You'll be one of those casualties living on the edge and the edge of the society. First ones to get killed off, first ones to get cold. But that one's called All Hell's Breaking Loose, and it was actually written by the first Trump term DOJ, not DOJ, DOD, now DOA, Department of Aggression, no, DOW, Department of War. But it's an interesting, if a little bit depressing read. I honestly, y'all, as someone that's read a lot of the climate science books, I wouldn't suggest it. Pick your favorite ones. Maybe read something by Bill Nye. Don't check out The End of Ice, and then All Hell Breaks Loose, and then 10 degrees of warming, and then 7 degrees of warming. Because at that point, you'll probably be going, oh, so I just need to jump off a fucking building. There's no hope. There's always hope, friends. I believe in humanity. I believe that, oops, I believe I can't make these shots. I believe that we can always find a way to save ourselves, but the longer we procrastinate, much like any chore, the longer you procrastinate, the harder the chore becomes. So, let's see if I can do this. I wanted to try this, and this gives me an excuse. Oh yeah! Didn't go as well as I was hoping, but that was pretty fun. Should I try 3? Let's see if I can crush 2 accurately first. Yeah! Okay, let's try 3. Why not? Don't hit me on the head, please. See, the more cans you add, the harder the impact force has to be to not shoot one of them out. Like that. Oh well, 2's our limit for the moment. We'll soon get them big beautiful arms, the BBAs. Yeah, you hear that? But yeah, y'all, that's what I've been up to. Reading, and I might do a short later showing you the blanket I've been working on for when winter time comes. Put over probably that window on the inside. Help seal us up a bit better. Keep that warm air inside. I ain't gonna do it right now because it's already close to 2 o'clock, and I would say it's quite warm. But honestly, I couldn't be more thankful to this neighbor and to my other neighbors. One's over who occasionally, when they have enough to bring me to beer cans and such. And my neighbor across, or beside us, who whenever he does a cookout, tends to let me have his cans and his aluminum bottles. I really need to check in at SA Recycling and see if I can recycle glass there. Because I've got a ton of glass that my original thought was to put garden boxes out of, but I haven't been able to get feedback from the actual landlord. And if I do this with the glass, it's going to be kind of a permanent fixture, because what my plan was to take all the whole bottles, lay them flat, and then compact dirt around them to basically form walls, but with see-through light. That way I could, in theory, plant something like a tomato, a strawberry, something that needs heat, that needs also a lot of year-round growth, so that it could still get the sunlight that it needs, but also have the insulation around it to basically be a little dirt greenhouse, you know? That was the hope. But without getting back from dude, I'm not going to install something I'm going to have to put a ton of work to destroy. most of what I've done thus far, I can easily take apart if I need to. Buckets and plastic shelving that I found on the road to grow plants in, and other stuff. Woo-wee! This is quite the little workout, y'all. We getting there. And right now, 4 cans nets me almost $20. 2 cans nets me anywhere from 7 to 10. Cans, aluminum specifically, as of the last time I went to recycle, are worth about 74 cents a pound. And I don't know, y'all, put it in the comments below what y'all go to for social media, because mostly the ADHD, slightism, whatever the hell's wrong with me, because I can't go to a therapist or a doctor to get taken care of. But as of elementary, middle, and high school, it was ADHD. What it would technically be today, I don't know. I haven't seen a doctor since I was 20. Got to see him once as I was leaving high school at 18, 19. And then got to see him once while I was working for Steel City Marine Transport up in Kentucky. Mostly because Patty twisted my arm and told me I needed to see a doctor, get checked up. And at that time, the company, I want to say his name was Dean, had a real hard on for making sure all his employees checked out medically so that he could basically not be afraid of us dying on his boat. But since then, I ain't been able to see a doctor because I ain't got no health insurance. And because of this, I don't really like most of the social media, because I find most of it is just there to make you argue with folks. It farms your outrage and takes all your data to sell you more crap and more outrage. And I got enough problems in my life without adding crap to it. So, I mean, at the moment I'm on Facebook because Carlos and Justin and Sukun and Maddie and Patty and Chelsea. Oh, go nice look. Go on now. Go on now. Go on now, you son of a bastard. But my high school friends are there. And so I mostly am on there to cathartically argue with boomers and bots, and less cathartically, more usefully, make sure that my friends are okay. But I don't know, y'all. I thought to go to Blue Sky because Blue Sky is the more democratic one, and they're nicer over there, especially to gay folks and the LGBTQIA+. And there's less of the old people that just want to be hateful and stupid. But I don't like echo chambers. I kind of like arguing and debating because it keeps my point sharp and precise. And to where, yeah, if we're talking about it, I can give you book references, I can give you fucking YouTube videos, books, college papers, whatever you want. I can find it if I believe in it. Because I don't believe in just having faith in things. If I have faith in something, it's not faith. I looked into it and I found the information. If I can't find the information, I mean, I might choose to believe it, but I don't go out there and rah it, you know? It's why when push comes to shove, when it comes to religious matters, I'm a secular humanist, but I worship our Mother Earth, Gaia as it were. Not the Greek figure or the Roman figure, but the idea. That also comes because ever since I was a little kid, when the voices got too much and I couldn't control my thoughts and I was spiraling, I would go to the Chattahoochee or the Etowah. Mama didn't like me in the Etowah because at that time it was very dangerous. There wasn't nearly the social order around it that we have now, and she thought if I went there I'd end up getting drowned. I mean, ignore the fact that most people that have mental problems in Georgia, that is kind of what happens. But either way, didn't like it. So I'd go to whatever river I could get to, and I found either taking my staff and walking against the current as far as I could, or finding a nice rock formation to sit on to where the water's passing about my midsection and just meditating helped me to calm my brain to where I could at least order my thoughts. Because yeah, y'all, I don't know if it's ADD, autism, or what, but sometimes, and usually at the worst fucking times, it's not like I make the active choice, but at the worst times, it's just either a song will get in there and start going on a loop until it drives me insane, or it'll be like, proper preparation prevents poor performance. You know that, right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Johnny was a white shield, fresh and green, my Johnny. Oh, how do you do, young Willie McBride? Do you mind if I sit here down by your graveside and rest for a while? You see what I mean? It'd just be thought after thought after thought after thought after thought, none of which have a thing to go together, other than maybe a slight connection with theme. And then it would get more into, hey, remember that time back in middle school when Jeffrey made that joke about, oh, it's because I'm black, and your dumbass couldn't just sit there quietly? So as soon as the laughter died down a little bit and the teacher got on to you and you went, oh, it's because I'm white, isn't it? Like a dumbass racist. And nobody laughed, and Jeffrey looked at you and gave you that. Yeah, you remember that? You remember that, don't you? Yeah, that was embarrassing, wasn't it? Hey, remember that? Yeah, I'm not going into that one. That one was too embarrassing to share. But that was a mental asylum story. And if y'all want that one, that's going to cost you money. Because that one was quite embarrassing. But either way, it's different. Because normal people in that situation, oh, that's unpleasant, let's think about something else. And they can actively think about something else. No matter what I do, I can put an active thought in there, but it's sort of like trying to hold one thought while the other one's just steadily knocking it back out of place. Hence, I can't maintain a train of thought. It's not fun. 10 out of 10 definitely wouldn't recommend. I mean, at times it comes in handy, because how many of y'all can have YouTube music playing, be reading a book, and be listening to an audio book, and keep all three in their own track? So when it's good, it's great. But when it's bad, oh my God, is it bad. But you know, just crazy person problems in America, where health is ranked down amongst the lowest. And that's insane in my opinion, you know, because if we put health first, you could do a lot with that. I mean, people say, oh, how would we pay for it? My advice, friend, first, everyone who comes into that clinic is giving you data, maybe not on them, but on their individual conditions, on which you can actually learn something more in depth. It's kind of why China, Vietnam, the better European countries, I'm just going to say it that way, most of the places with universal health care in them have very robust data sets on various things, and why people in those places tend to live a shitload longer. It's sort of an all for one kind of thing, because everyone who goes to the clinic for any kind of help adds to the clinic's data pool, which adds to the knowledge you can draw from, which makes all of your treatments better across the board. As opposed to America, where if you can't afford it, I guess you get to just die. And if you can't afford it, your tiny conditions tie together and let us learn about it. But I mean, I went for like 6 years, more than 10 years, without seeing a dentist, at which point when I finally did get to see a dentist, I scared them. They looked at my teeth and literally said, I don't know how you're alive. Because at that time, they pulled 32 teeth in one sitting, because at least about 25 of those teeth were just bone shards. And I was still working 40 to 60 hours to 80 to 90 hours every week, and, you know, subsisting mostly on soup, woo, and anger. Because I couldn't chew none. It was just, every day I was in a lot of pain. All I could taste was blood and bile, and all I could deal with was just this ever-growing sense of, not only do I not matter, but my country really could give a shit if I live or die. And then my partner, my best friend, my roommate, probably the last lover I'll ever have, came into my life. And yeah, with his advanced medical insurance and way better pay than I'll ever make doing anything that I did, since he was a graphic artist, we went to a clinic, and a dentist's office, went to about 3 of them, found one that was doing the stuff that I wanted, because I didn't want to keep having to invest in Dentabond and glue and all the other stuff. I just would keep the teeth out and stick with my current diet, just live without the pain. But this dude instead convinced me, and the dentist convinced me, to let him put 2 titanium struts in my mouth, magnets, and now I don't need denture glue for my dentures, even though I don't have any teeth whatsoever. But that's because my friend took pity on me and helped me out. If it had been up to me, I'd have probably been dead before I had to see the first Trump administration. But, you know, past stories and things to learn from. I find that it's why I'm so understanding when certain people do stupid things, because I understand what it is just to not want to be in pain anymore, just to be getting by with the struggle. It's also why, when it comes to my policy, and no doubt we finished the aluminum. But it's also why, when it comes to my policy on drug things, I don't think anyone just wants to do drugs all willy-nilly and for funsies. I think most of them are trying to escape either a mental situation that they cannot find relief from, or a physical situation that they cannot get relief from. And all of these people would be less addicted and less likely to be addicted if they had comprehensive medical care that could get them to doctors. I would even go so far as to say, allow people to try the more hardcore drugs like meth, PCP, acid, heroin, all those, fentanyl, because we use fentanyl in hospitals anyway, but do it in a hospital setting with the caveat that if you do it, that's cool, we'll let you, but we give you the nurse, we give you a clean needle, we give you the drug that you're shooting up with, you do the drug, we take and get rid of the needle and shit, and then you're in the hospital for 8 to 12 to whatever hours, playing a video game or whatever the fuck you're going to do in privacy, and then you go through the process of what would be a rehabilitation clinic to get you back on straight and narrow. Then after 6, 7, 8 months, if you want to go do that heroin again, go ahead. Clinical setting, same setup. I think that you would see drug numbers drop substantially, and you would see a lot less people doing street drugs, because they would have strong, legal, and safe alternatives. But nobody wants to hear that, because it's much easier to just arrest them, put them in prison, and use them as slave labor to keep our parks clean, fight our forest fires, sometimes torture them for the fun, hence I've seen them do chess, and I've seen them do like bingo, and I've seen them do spades and playing cards, where basically you go to a rodeo, these 4 inmates sit at a table, to 5 inmates, to 8, however many they can get to do it for 20, 40 bucks, and then they release the bull. Last one sitting at the table wins the pot. It's insane shit, but we do it here. And check out John Oliver's section on prisons. It's about 4 or 5 years old, but check it out. It's horrifying. And we wouldn't have that if we had comprehensive medical care, therapy for people who need it, and we all fucking need it, and, you know, just a genuine sense of community. But that's me, y'all. I'm just a crazy person doing his very best, trying to hurt nobody, and do the best possible good work I can do while I'm here. That's me. I'm not a capitalist. In fact, in a lot of ways, I'm an anti-capitalist. I think that we need to focus more on community and the betterment of the human race and the human species as a whole, rather than who can make the most money, who can hoard the most wealth, and who has the best toys. That's me. I've long ago realized if you get to my age and you're not a millionaire or a billionaire, guess what, sunshine? You ain't getting it unless you really do something illegal or wrong. So instead of, well, what if it's me? I think, hey, what if everyone was just happy and we got to live a happy life? You know, sort of like was laid out by Gene Roddenberry with Star Trek and the Federation. Maybe without the space military and, like, rank and all that, but even with that, I can put up with that if it's like you just want to be really awesome at that thing and explore. Just thoughts. This is definitely going to be an actual video, so smile for the thumbnail. Y'all be good. Do something good for somebody. That's basically what I do, but on a smaller scale each day when I do the smashy bits. Smashy bits. Y'all be good. I'm going to get the fuck out of this Georgia sun. It's about 92 degrees now, and I can feel it cooking me. Love y'all. Be safe. See you later.